How's it going? So do you sometimes wonder if you need to be consistent? What's more important? Is it more important to produce content, or is it more important to be consistent, right? So that's a good question, and lots of people wonder that, and I know I wondered in the beginning. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, but first, my name is Jean-Serge Gagnon, and I help you create digital courses so you can live your life on your terms. And let me know if you're watching a replay, if you're watching live. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Put in there replay and let me know where you're watching from. Say hi. I'd love to say hi back. So do you need to do content more than you need to be consistent? So you see me post lives every day. You see me in my stories every day on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. I'm doing it everywhere. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, because that is, a lot of work. And I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that forever, but I've been doing it for a long time. And one of the things that I've learned over the years, because I've been doing this for over 3 years, almost 4 now, is that what's more important than content is consistency. So I know that content has to be good, it has to be valuable, it has to be what your audience is interested in. And believe me, I've changed my content over the years to different, it's part of the game. You gotta change stuff if it's not what you're really doing. If you're when I started, this is the thing, when I started, I was not focused. I was like, everybody needs to hear this, everybody wants to make money online. There's not one person, there's not one kind of person, it's not just men, it's not just women, it's not just students, it's not just parents, it's everybody. Everybody wants to make money online. And even though that's true, it doesn't mean that you focus. Well, if you don't focus, it's not going to work. That's part of it. But that's not to do with content versus consistency, right? That's just kind of how it all started for me. And for you, if you're thinking about producing content, you got to remember that you really need to be consistent. And the reason why that is because whenever somebody finds you online, they're going to be interested in what you have to say first, right? I mean, if they find you and they're interested in what you're saying, they might watch, right? If you're doing a live like this or something like that, they're going to watch if it's of interest to them, right? If it's the topic they're interested in, if they're your target market, like me, I'm kind of teaching small things about digital courses, little tips that people can use if you're thinking about creating a digital course or produce or selling them or anything like that, right? So anything to do with digital courses. Before that, I was doing different things. And where am I going with this? Help me out. Remind me. Yeah, content. Content is king, but consistency is the law. So that's because if somebody sees you because they're interested, right? That's what I was talking about. They're interested in what you're doing. If they're your target market, then they're going to watch potentially, right? That's the whole idea, right? You want people to watch because they're interested in what you're doing, right? What you're selling or what you're talking about or anything like that. So that problem is that they won't necessarily follow you unless they see you regularly. And that's just human nature, that's why marketing works on TV and whatever, and newspapers and radio. That's why before you're interested in something somebody's trying to sell you with an ad, you have to have heard that ad 5 to 10 times before you even start to wonder what it is. I mean, sure, if it's a really, really great ad, you might be like, oh wow, that's cool the first time you see it. But you're not really gonna, it's not gonna enter your mind much until you've seen it multiple times. That's one of the marketing secrets, right? Like Eric Ward talks about in his book, that you need 6 to 10 exposures before somebody will say yes to your buying your product, joining your opportunity, anything like that, right? So that's the exposures we talk about. That's why consistency is important. If you're not, that's why it's important to post multiple times, right? So that they get to see you multiple times and they get to start to think of you as a person that has the knowledge that they're interested in, right? And then there's a whole thing about them liking you and trusting you and all that. But the thing is that we're talking about here is consistency. I mean, they could still see you, once every, I don't know, you could send them an email sequence, right? That's another way to getting them to see you six to 10 times. But that's not consistency. That's just they joined an email list and now they're getting those, right? What we're talking about here is consistency. Why is consistency important? And that's mainly because they're going to be expecting a certain amount of content from you. If you change your consistency, they're going to feel that you're not living up to, they're going to think you're not living to your side of the bargain because you said you'd post once a week and now you're not. Or you said you'd post once a day and now you're not. Or you said you'd post twice a week or every 2 weeks or whatever it is, right? If you're not being consistent, you're basically lying. So that's not good. Human nature doesn't like people that lie. Anyways, that's why you got to be consistent. That's why consistency is the law. Even though you got to produce content, yeah, sure, you got to produce content. That's important. But without consistency, your content is not going to work that great. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. And if you know anybody who would like to hear this message, then please share it. I'd really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time.